Executive Vice President of the National Taxpayers Union, Brandon Arnold. Good morning, gentlemen. Really appreciate you both being on. Pavan, let me start with you here. So after 34 years, Spirit Airlines was grounded permanently, kind of overnight, Friday night around 3 a.m. Democrats, like Elizabeth Warren, of course, blaming President Trump, but Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy brought the receipts. Let's take a listen.
Spirit tried to merge with JetBlue. The Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg administration and DOJ tanked that deal. Immediately after that, they filed for bankruptcy. They were having financial problems. Martha, they filed for bankruptcy again last year. They were bleeding money.
Yeah, I mean, then you have Elizabeth Warren herself celebrating that decision at the time, posting on X back in March of 2024. Quote, I've warned for months that a JetBlue Spirit Airlines merger would have led to fewer flights and higher fares. This is a Biden win for flyers. Pavan, the Democrat gaslighting is absolutely stunning. What exactly happened to Spirit Airlines here?
Well, I think it's the oil prices. I mean, we've seen it go up almost double from $67 to almost $116. And I don't think they were engineered for high oil prices. It's just a little bit of mismanagement. And if they had locked in oil futures at the right time, this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, and Brandon, just to follow up with that exact point, do you think any other airlines will be next if fuel prices and other goods remain this high? And if this war doesn't end soon, is this unfortunately a sign of things to come in other sectors of the economy that really rely so heavily on that price of fuel?
Yeah, I mean, airlines are certainly taking it on the chin right now with high fuel prices. I'm not sure that any are prepared to go under. As the secretary said, this is an airline that was already in a considerable amount of trouble. They had filed for bankruptcy twice. They had attempted a merger. So they were already on shaky grounds, and the high gas prices were simply the final straw. But the secretary is right. This is all owned by the Biden administration, Lena Khan, Elizabeth Warren, all of the antitrust zealots on the left caused this airline to fall. It's that simple. The fuel prices were just the final straw. They weren't the mortal blow that was landed by Lena Khan and folks in the Biden administration.
Yeah, let me follow up with you really quickly, Brandon. So I saw on Twitter, this is anecdotal, but I saw a lot of people, the second that Spirit shut their doors, other airlines' ticket prices seemed to skyrocket. I mean, I'm talking by 1,000%. There was a $200 ticket that went up to almost $1,400. What's the connection there, if any?
I'm not sure there's a connection there. There's certainly going to be some short-term problems there as airline routes are resorted. We've already seen certain airlines step in to take over some of these Spirit routes, and I think that's going to take more effect. Once the dust settles, these gates are controlled by other airlines. I think you will see some degree of price normalization. Of course, all that relies on jet fuel prices coming back down to a normal range, because until that happens, prices will escalate and we'll see more baggage charges and other types of fees assessed on passengers.
Yeah, and again, people, they relied on Spirit. It was the very affordable airline for people to get from A to B. So it is unfortunate. But Pavan, while I have you, I do want to pivot to this. So as we mentioned, President Trump received the news of the lowest jobless claim since 1969 last week. The stock market hit all-time highs. So even in the midst of a war, and then, of course, as we just mentioned, those soaring gas prices, the economy somehow still just roaring along, seemingly. How do you explain that?
Well, I think from my housing perspective, this has been a challenge in housing because we've seen mortgage payments in LA go up about $300 a month. And we're also seeing that inflation is at a record high of 3.2%, and the Fed split on the the lower rates. So there's a little bit of this cooling effect on the other side to consumers. So what we need to do is we need to focus on the good news in the economy, which is increased jobs and the ability for AI to add income to all of us. And we're seeing that every single day as people use AI to multiply their income sources.
Interesting. I feel like that is a whole nother topic for a whole nother day, talking about AI. But Brandon, even though the economy seems to be humming along, on Wall Street, how long can the American people sustain that $4 a gallon gas before they break? And how long before we start seeing the economy as a whole getting dragged down?
Well, it's impossible to say exactly when we'll see that, but we've already seen a lot of discontent amongst voters, amongst consumers, amongst taxpayers with high gas prices.
Yeah.
And it's not just gas prices. We're building all of these price increases on top of the record inflation that we saw under the Biden administration. So that inflation is baked into the cake. Any inflation that we see going forward is just additive. And that's why we see high disapproval ratings right now for the economy. People are frustrated because prices are much, much higher than they were before the pandemic and before the Biden administration. We really need to get aggressive on the affordability issue and drive down some of the federal spending that is pouring gasoline on the fire, so to speak. So there's a lot that Congress and this president needs to do to get the economy back to where it was during the first Trump administration, when it was indeed a rip-roaring economy. I think we can get there, but there is work to be done.
Yeah, it's all with, people's wallets. People can talk all they want about how great things are, but if they go and fill up their car, if they go to the grocery store and the prices are really hurting them, that is what they feel. That is what they see. Pavan Argawal and Brandon Arnold, gentlemen, great discussion this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.